All right, welcome back to season 9. We both believe it's episode 7, so that's what I'm going with.
We could both be wrong, but that's what came to our old brains.
Exactly. So before we get into today's movie, I just wanted to give a shout out to, we have a local kitchen store actually called Flying Fish. And I was in there just putzing around, looking at stuff. And I saw these little horror games that they had.
That's one that has all the Christmas ornaments?
Yeah.
On Commercial Street?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So I'll just read you one. Let's see if Maniac gets this one.
Or they could put the answers in the comments. We could ask them.
Yeah, you could. Okay.
Let's do that.
Which modern monster was born on the message boards of a website called Something Awful? I've actually seen this movie, but I won't give it away.
If you know the answer, post in the comments.
Put in the comments because Maniac doesn't know the answer to that. Do you?
And Leatherface Lee will send you $500 if you get it right.
Yeah.
To each person who gets it correct.
Exactly. So. As soon as our sponsorship money comes through, I'll send that to you right away. Checks in the mail. Okay. Anyway, before we get into our feature presentation, we'll start off with quick cuts and we'll begin with Maniac.
Yeah, you and I were talking about this film, so I don't know if we have the same quick cut, but maybe you saw this coming. My quick cut for today is Dolly from 2026. Oh. Is that the one you picked?
I almost did, but I didn't.
You knew I was going to pick it, yeah. Okay, so Dolly, a young woman named Macy and her boyfriend head into a remote forest for a romantic hike, but their trip turns into a nightmare when Macy is abducted by a monstrous masked figure known as Dolly. Trapped in an isolated house and forced into twisted childlike roleplay, Macy must fight to survive and escape. This is directed by Rod Blackhurst, starring Fabienne Therese, Sean William Scott, a.k.a. Stifler from American Pie, and Ethan Suplee, who you and I were talking about, just had an incredible transformation as someone who was 500-something pounds.
550 pounds, I think. He's lost 300 pounds.
And now is absolutely jacked.
Yeah.
I think he was in some of those like football movies.
Exactly.
And maybe American History X. Anyways, I didn't recognize him on screen.
I think he was in American History X. He always played like a fat slob kind of thing character.
Yeah.
He's just inspirational. The change that has taken place for sure.
Speaking of inspirational, this got a 5.1 on Internet Movie Database, 63% critic score, and a 49% audience score. Now, I think this actually is a good horror film for a certain subsect of horror fan.
Yeah, I'd agree.
This kind of gave me Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibes. This is like a dirty, gross, kind of grimy, mean-spirited horror film. But I know some people like that. And so I think like this is not like a fun, lighthearted, feel-good horror of the year.
Not at all.
This is pretty grimy, pretty bloody, and like a bit like kind of an exploitation film.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, so I guess we can't say anything. I was going to ask a question, but I can't really ask that. But yeah, I mean, it is pretty mean. There's some great effects
for sure
in the film.
Good practical effects. The acting I thought was good. The performances, you got a good, strong protagonist. And it's good. It's just very like niche.
Yeah, for sure. Sure. It's not going to be everybody's cup of tea by any stretch.
Yeah.
It's
so if you love
graphic.
like the dark, grimy kind of, Texas Chainsaw style horror, then I think I'd recommend this. Actually, I think it will scratch that itch. But for the more casual horror fans who'd like something kind of fun or funny, this is probably not your jam. So not bad. Definitely a good slasher. And it was pretty unique too.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
There's an element in there which is kind of fresh, which I won't spoil because it's just a quick cut. But yeah, check out Dolly, I think, for 2026.
Agreed.
Okay.
My quick cut is from the hater of found footage, a found footage film
who loves
called Bodycam. And it's 2025. I think it was
not to be confused with Dashcam.
No, not Dashcam. It's Bodycam. And I think this was didn't actually make popular release until 2026, but it says 2025. Anyway, it's an hour and 15. I could not find a rating for it. I'm going to guess it's going to be R, and it's horror found footage. IMDb got a 5, and a big spread on Rotten Tomatoes, 88 for critics and 41 for audience. Which tells you something right there. The director's Brandon Christensen, Jamie M. Calica, Sean Rogerson, Catherine Loff, I think, Hagquist. Two police officers investigate a domestic dispute, and there is an accidental shooting. Not wanting to be crucified by the public, the officers attempt to cover it up, only to uncover that the cameras aren't the only things watching them. Okay, so before I give you my kind of take on this one, I gave this 2.5 stars out of 5, not out of 10. There were some good scenes, there were some good scares, but it wasn't, I don't think it was able to bring everything together and to like make this a cohesive whole. There were these things going on that were kind of interesting, and I liked the premise of the whole body cam thing and police doing something on body cam that they want to do something with the body cam. They want to erase it. They want to do whatever. I don't know how they work exactly, but I think from the film, my understanding was like that footage gets sent up to the cloud or whatever, and then they can't erase it locally. Anyway, it was pretty interesting. The critics said, with smart, low budget ingenuity and visceral atmosphere, Bodycam delivers a brisk and often gripping found footage experience. I don't know if I'd go that far, but you might enjoy it if you like found footage. And obviously the critics saw something that they liked in this, 88.
88's high.
Yeah, it's a high score for this kind of film particularly.
Do you feel like found footage has taken a bit of a backseat the last year or two?
Yes.
Like when I think of the prominent horror films for the last couple of years, I don't think of many of them as being found footage.
No. I think, but to be fair, I think they hammered us with it for a decade,
absolutely.
right? Or longer.
So, I wasn't saying it wasn't a welcome break, but did this feel fresh then? Because it'd been a while since you'd seen found footage.
Yeah, it did seem fresh, partly because it's from police perspective, partly because this is a body cam as opposed to something, paranormal you hung up in your, house or whatever. So yes, I do think it was a bit fresh. I also was interested to see what they did with it. The issue for me was the characters weren't really fleshed out. And so you didn't really care about any of I didn't care about any of the characters. But the premise was interesting. And I think if you come into it with the right attitude, it could be an interesting watch for some.
Cool. We did our top 10 found footage films.
Yes.
So there is, for those of you who are new subscribers, if you're wanting to find out what our best found footage films are, I can put a link in the description to that.
Yeah, do that. Yeah, because I can't remember which season it was in, but
yeah, me neither.
I'm thinking maybe 4.
I just remember we went into it saying that you actually hated found footage, exactly. And you had reams of them that you loved. So
I think I went through the list and I'd watched like 20 found footage films, but I hate them.
We didn't do a whole season of found footage, though, did we?
No, it was an episode. The thing is, though, it's not that I hate the concept of found footage. It's just like so many things where you get one, popular, well-done film like Blair Witch, and then everybody jumps on the band. I don't think it was until Paranormal Activity that they put a new twist on found footage.
Yeah, probably.
So anyway, that's enough. That's our quick cuts. Let's move on to our feature presentation. So we're going to have a look at Ready or Not 2.
Part 2.
Here I come.
Hide and seek? Are we really going to play that? Thank God it's over.
You've caused quite a stir, Mrs. Ladomas. You married into that family. Now they're dead. What you didn't know is that this goes far beyond them. By surviving hide and seek, you've triggered a new game. This time against the High Council families. Double or nothing. This part will be familiar. They will try to kill you.
Welcome to our home.
So there's an hour and 48 rated R splatter horror, dark comedy, thriller, and action. IMDb had 6.8 when I made my notes, but I checked today and it was 6.7. Rotten Tomatoes was 73 critics, 90 audience. So obviously a crowd pleaser, but less loved by critics. I think 6.8 or 6.7 is pretty reasonable on IMDb.
Yeah, not to spoil my opinions, but I was pretty shocked when I looked at the Rotten Tomatoes score and saw the audience score 90.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
But I'll get into this later, but there's definitely mixed opinion. Some critics love this and some didn't. So that explains the 73. Matt Benelli Olpin and Tyler Gillette are the directors. They did Scream 5 and 6, Abigail, and the first Ready or Not film. They may have done other things, but those are the ones I'm aware of recently. Samara Weaving comes back as Grace. Catherine Newton, Faith, who is also in Lisa Frankenstein, plays Samara's sister. Elijah Wood is the lawyer.
Yeah.
And then we've got some Sarah Michelle Gellar, David Cronenberg. It's a really good cast and a really good ensemble cast. So you probably know how this goes. After surviving one deadly game, Grace and her sister Faith must now outrun 4 rival families competing for a powerful throne. Winner takes all. So the critics' consensus was that tempting fate by picking up where it left off after an extended absence, 7 years actually, Ready or Not 2 cheats the sequel curse thanks in large part to Samara Weaving's ferocious commitment to the bloody bit. I think we might have something to say about that. So that's kind of the precursor. Let us know in the comments if you were fans of the original. I loved the original film. It was fresh. There were some really great kills. Samara Weaving was top notch in that one.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
So that film came out 7 years ago?
Yes.
Did you go back and rewatch?
No.
So was the last time you saw this the first time you saw it? Okay, me too.
So it's been 7 years. Yeah. I mean, I have a pretty good recollection, but I don't remember, details.
Yeah.
In general, I remember what the movie was about. So my first question to you is something that we've discussed fairly often. Is this a horror film?
Interesting. Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in your mind, does the violence make it a slasher then, and therefore it is a horror?
Yep, the violence, and there's a supernatural element as well, which I think gives
fair
weight to it being a horror film. Without that element, then perhaps it would be more of just an action film.
Yeah, agreed.
And I think the nature of it being sort of like a victim who's held there against their will, being subjected to this game, being kind of a final girl archetype. Yeah, I think this is a horror film. And it's clearly and this is what kind of threw me.
Okay.
Do you remember, because this really feels like horror comedy.
Yes.
Do you remember the first one? I seem to remember the comedy being more subtle or understated in the first one, but because it had been 7 years, maybe I'm just misremembering, but I was a bit caught off guard by the tone of this film because I had remembered it being different or darker.
Yes.
Did you have that experience?
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember this being darker and darker. I would call this still dark comedy, but it was not as subtle as the first one.
Like this comes off as pretty ridiculous at times.
Yeah.
And I don't quite remember, maybe at the very end, but I seem to recall the first one playing it a lot more straight.
Yeah. I think you're right, actually, until the very, very end.
Yeah, when there's a...
Yeah, and when things happen. But this one, there were some really almost silly scenes.
Yeah, so I think my review of this is somewhat tainted by what my expectation of what this film would be versus kind of what it ended up being.
Yeah, I'd agree.
But because I hadn't seen it in 7 years, maybe I'm misremembering. So
I don't think so. I think the first one was more subtle in many ways.
Yeah,
not just comedy.
Fair. Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead. Did you have something to say?
Well, I just had a question for you as well. So I think generally speaking, you are not a big fan of sequels.
No.
But I think we can see in the horror genre, like sometimes the second entry can be really good, like something like Aliens, or it can be The Exorcist 2. So how do you calibrate your expectations when you go into a second iteration of a film franchise like this? Like, do you go in really apprehensive, or did you go in with excitement that there's another one, or how would you characterize that? Yeah,
that's a really good question. For me personally, because I don't like sequels, I went in, dread's a bit strong, but I was just like, okay, what are they going to do? Like, the premise is exactly the same, really.
Yes.
Many of the critics said this is the same, but bigger and more stuff, more gore, more whatever.
Agreed.
That doesn't do it for me. Like the first one was so good because it was so fresh a concept.
Yeah.
And this is what, if you're a movie director and you're listening, please listen. We don't need a second or third or 10th film. every film doesn't have to be a franchise. It was so good to end the first film where it ended. She's successful. She's triumphant. Lights of smoke. The building's on fire. And it was really, really good.
Yeah.
And this one, it was like, okay, well, sure. Like you changed a few things around, but I've seen this all before.
Yeah. The fact that this picks up right after the first one and within 15 minutes,
Yes.
they're right back in the exact same situation. I was really rolling my eyes, and this felt like a sequel that didn't need to happen.
Yeah. 100%.
I would say typically I'm pretty open-minded for the second film in a franchise. You know, once we get to like Scream 7 or like,
Yeah,
at that
exactly.
point, I'm pretty jaded. But usually I'm open to a sequel because I think there's enough examples where the second one actually
Sure.
sometimes over-delivers relative to the first. But this, I would not put in that camp, both in terms of the execution and sometimes the sequel makes sense. This, as you said, like the first one wrapped up perfectly. Like this did not need a sequel. And you can tell when they creatively have a really good idea that they want to do for the second, or they just think, how can we cash in on this
Totally.
and just make like milk a franchise?
Because it was the second one was just so derivative.
Yes.
And so for me, it was just meh. I mean, even with my low expectations, I wasn't super stoked about it. And I'll get into it later, but there's
I was borderline angry for the first third of this. Like I resented watching it. I was like, this is just BS. Like
yeah,
I was really frustrated with just how I felt lazily they just redirected
100%.
the plot back
Yeah.
to the original premise. Spoilers, but I mean, that's in the trailer.
I mean, they jacked it up a little bit, but it didn't make up for the fact that it was just a rip off of the first one.
But I will admit that there was a scene in the latter half of the film that I found quite amusing. And then from that point on, I think, figuring out the vibe a little bit more, that they were leaning more into the comedy.
Yeah.
And there were some pretty enjoyable bits, and the performances were good. But I agree. I would still stand by the fact that this movie doesn't really need to exist.
Now, what I did enjoy, other than maybe some physical
Yeah, should we
comedy.
do likes?
Yeah. For me, the music was just awesome. So I just had a little list. This isn't all the songs in the movie, but there's the hide and seek song, You Don't Own Me, Man Eater, I'm Still Standing, Brutal, Just a Girl, Everybody Wants to Rule the World, Tainted Love, I Did Something Bad. Like it's just one song after another that just really ties in with the themes of the film. And I thought that was brilliant.
For sure. Yeah, music was good. The technical elements are all there.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's more the idea of this being a sequel, I think, that bothered me more than the execution wasn't good.
Well, what about other than Samara Weaving, what about performances? I mean, she was great.
I mean, I'm a huge sucker for Elijah Wood.
I really liked him. Yeah.
I can't think of a bad movie he's in, and he just makes me happy whenever he's in something. Like Yellow Jackets, he's great. This one, Maniac. What's the Rodriguez one? When he's like a complete freak. Sin City.
Sin City. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Elijah Wood, if he's in something, he just makes it better. And I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan, so performances were good. I thought it was a pretty cool cameo by David Cronenberg.
Yes. I wanted to come back to, I don't know, I didn't know this till today. I was doing some quick reading, but the Lord of the Rings connection. Did you know that Samara Weaving is actually the niece of one of the
Oh, no, I did
elfin
not.
characters?
Really?
I can't remember the actor's name, but he's in The Matrix as well. He plays the agent.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Oh my God. Elrond.
yeah, exactly.
Hugo Weaving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that she's his niece.
Oh, that's cool. I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
So,
Oh, that explains something.
yeah, Samara Weaving is excellent. I like Elijah Wood too. And I think he's got the perfect demeanor for the lawyer that he's playing.
I thought he was the best part of this movie, actually.
Yeah, he's got almost like a smile on his face sometimes. He's completely understated. He does this thing with his hands quite a bit, but it's just his calm energy in comparison to the craziness, the chaos that's going around is just so good.
Yeah.
I'm
trying to figure out quite where his allegiances lie. I thought it was kind of fun.
Yeah.
We won't spoil that yet, but
And yeah, I agree. David Cronenberg, it was really fun to see him as a patriarch, of a family.
are you a big fan of Sarah Michelle Gellar at all? Or
No.
yeah, I wasn't. I think Buffy is probably her biggest claim to fame in the horror space.
I know what you did last summer.
That too. Yeah, I mean, she was fine.
Yeah, she was fine.
Yeah.
I mean, and
For some people, that was probably exciting.
is it Kevin Durand, the guy? He was in Abigail, and he plays one of the characters at the beginning. He's offed really quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought the ensemble supporting cast was really good, really strong. I'm going to, I don't know when we want to do this, but I would like to talk about the sister character a little bit. And I don't know if this is the place to do it. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just that, like, Samara Weaving, her performance was really good. Did it bother you at all? I felt like she really oscillates between I'm really scared and I'm like screaming and weeping and I'm really traumatized, and then having these like sarcastic one-liners like "Give me a cigarette." Like I found that juxtaposition kind of jarring. It's like I feel like go one way or the other.
Yeah.
But either be cool, calm, and collected and a badass, or be like traumatized and afraid.
Yeah.
But I felt like she kept flipping on a dime between she'd be like crying and upset, and then have this like kind of banter, like one-liner badass line, and then go back to like crying and being upset again.
I wonder if that ties into my thought about Catherine Newton, who plays a sister. So,
Okay. Do you want to say that for spoilers? Or do you want to talk about it now? I don't care. Unless you think it breaches spoilers.
I just don't know. It's a performance. I mean, we know that she has a sister. I think what I'm going to say is general. I don't think I'm spoiling anything.
Yep.
Her performance is okay, but the whole concept of an estranged sister is useless to me. It's like, why did you even put this in the film? And I think that's part of the reason that Samara Weaving's character is Grace is so inconsistent, because there's this element of, should I be protecting my sister? Did I, it just didn't work for me.
It didn't work for me either. I thought it seemed like they just wanted to put a twist in there. It's like, oh, we can't have her go through this again.
Exactly.
So we'll throw in a sister character.
Yeah.
But it felt very like sloppily stapled together.
Agreed. Yeah. Especially after 7 years, like, polish the script a little bit, do some better writing. If it's going to be 9 years instead of 7, it doesn't really matter. Go back and make a better script. Like,
yeah. Did you feel like there was much chemistry there?
No.
Like, I know they're supposed to sort of be at odds with each other, but even when they weren't, that whole angle, the sister thing, I'm with you. That didn't sit with me very well.
It just really it didn't seem to fit. I mean, I understand it's a plot device that gets us where we need to go, but unfortunately, it's a plot device that they keep through the entire film. Like if you just got them there and then they offed her right away or something, maybe that would have worked better. I don't know.
Yeah, because I don't know if it's her performance, but is it the jarring? I feel like they couldn't quite make up their mind. And I think the idea that this one was more comedy and the first one was more dark, but they still tried to maybe make this horror, but you kind of undercut yourself maybe by making it so ridiculous at so many times. I don't know.
Did you, I found, speaking of dark, it seemed to me like this one, there were some things that were a little bit more mean-spirited than the first one, like especially with the sister. I don't know. I don't know if you felt that or not.
But then it gets downright goofy at other times.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right. I mean, I thought there was some, just really.
Yeah. I mean, are you talking about one of the fight scenes?
Yes.
Yeah. That actually was a bit shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll get,
it seemed incongruous to the rest of the film, really. Like it.
There's a lot of tonal issues in this film.
Tonal shifts. That's a good point. Yeah. I mean, visually, I don't know if there's much to talk about. I mean, the effects were good. The gore was good. I liked this in the first one, but this one stretches the canvas a little bit more because there were a lot of sort of individual rooms and settings. And to me, that worked because it gives you something interesting. Like they had a ballroom. They had all these. Now, I know that the first one was in an estate as well, but this one, it seemed to me from my recollection of the first one, just seemed to stretch things, move things a little bit further afield.
Oh, to the point of like, did it catch you off guard? Like it started outdoors with like the lush green, like on the golf course. Yeah. And the first one was very like dark hallways and like the more gothic feeling mansion. Was that jarring to you at all? The tonal, again, like the tonal shift is starting in like the bright sunny day. And
right.
They're riding golf carts around. Like it just felt different than the first.
For sure.
And which is fair. Maybe that's what they wanted to
for sure. I wanted to ask, I mean, we talked about sisters. Did you make anything of their names, Grace and Faith?
I mean, I noticed that they were of a similar theme, but I didn't feel like this film had a whole lot going on in terms of like theme or message, but did you?
Well, I wrote that down and then I thought, maybe I'm just reading a little bit too much. I don't think the script was that good that they must have been thinking about it because they're both, kind of biblical. The idea of Samara Weaving's character she is graceful in
Yeah.
the film, and her sister does have faith, right? But I don't want to read too much into that because it doesn't really go beyond that point, I don't think.
Yeah, I think when the names are that obvious that there's probably something there, but again, I don't feel like there's a whole lot of elevated like messaging in this film. I feel like
fair.
it's mostly just yucks.
So what did you like about the film?
Yeah, so I think it was. So I was really thrown off because I just found it really lazy that they were basically copy paste the original theme. But I do like Elijah Wood. I thought the performances were good. And then there's a certain fight scene that takes place on a dance floor.
Yeah.
That kind of really just goes full comedy. And I don't know if it just took me half a film to recalibrate my expectations from a dark horror film to just more of a slapstick fun horror comedy, or if they shifted the tone halfway through the film. But I kind of got on the same wavelength and just stopped trying to overthink. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to have fun and enjoy what this film is doing. And so I was able to enjoy the over the top nature of the latter half of the film. Like the ending is, I thought, really awesome.
Yeah.
So I was surprised how much the film kind of redeemed itself, but for sure, just the gore, the action, the performances, and just having fun with it at the end, I think is what I liked the most. But I was pretty angry. The first half of the film, I was not enjoying it. I was like, I'm not really liking anything about this film. How about you?
I had this similar likes, some great kills, the dark humor. But speaking of humor, I wanted to bring this up because, again, we've gone over this multiple times. Getting the balance between comedy and horror is really difficult, and this film proves it once again that there are no accidents. When somebody like Sam Raimi makes a horror film with comedic elements, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Not everybody does.
Yeah.
And I feel that way. I mean, so for example, if you go back to the directors and you look at, okay, they did Scream 5 and 6. Now, although I like those, I wouldn't argue that the balance was right between comedy and horror. The same thing with Abigail. There were some great bits in that, and overall, I quite like that film. And we talked about, being angry that they basically spoiled the premise in the trailers and the posters, right? But I just think I give them credit for trying. Like you get a participation ribbon, but it's just really hard to make a good horror film that has, comedy as its flip side.
For sure. But I think had this been the first in the franchise and they were setting the tone, it would have been better.
Yeah.
My issue was that it seems so different than Ready or Not. So if you're going to keep a franchise, I feel like you need to keep it tonally the same. So in fairness to something like Evil Dead, it's really quirky and has weird comedy, but the original Evil Dead does it. Evil Dead 2 does it. Army of Darkness does it. Like they maintain that tone throughout. My issue here was that it seemed to really shift from the first Ready or Not, but I could be wrong because I haven't seen it in 7 years. But I think you and I are having at least the same recollection.
So maybe it should be more like The Strangers and just do the same film over and over again and tonally. But even that one, I mean, I was obviously joking, but the first one was really gripping and really intense, and the rest of them just.
It's like Nightmare on Elm Street, I think, why a lot of people don't like it, because the first one's really good and they play it pretty straight. And then as Freddy Krueger, it's more comical and almost like a parody of himself.
Exactly.
I think that's what people didn't like, and the franchise falls apart. So I think there is something to be said for tonal consistency throughout a franchise.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, because I mean, even in the first Nightmare, he's got some, side remarks and offhand quips, but it doesn't take over. Yeah. Right. Are we ready to do spoilers or?
Yeah, I think so, because I feel like a lot of things I'm wanting to talk about mostly involve spoilers.
So is it a recommend for you? Maybe?
No. Ultimately, I think I would say just go rewatch the first Ready or Not, and not to waste your time with this one.
Yeah.
Not that it's bad, and we might be out of touch because 90% of audiences said they liked it. There's fun to be had here, but I don't know. If you're a fan of the first one, I don't know. Maybe I just went in with the wrong mindset, but I will not recommend this. I think rewatch the first one.
I think if you like those action horror style films, this is probably going to fill your cup. You'll watch this one and go, yeah, they had some great kills. They had, some good action, some good fight scenes, and so on and so on. But that doesn't make it a good film. And so I don't know. I probably am in agreement with you. I don't know if it's worth watching. And I if you're listening and you go, what are you guys talking about? This was such a good film. Then give us some comments. Let us know where you think we're off. Because we do tend to have a similar viewpoint of when we see films. We digress or depart sometimes, but typically we're pretty close. So if you love this film and you think you guys are idiots, you might think that anyway, just let us know in the comments, because I'd be interested to know how many of our listeners, our audience is like this one. So
yeah, and I think we've done this long enough to recognize that like expectations is really important, and the mood you're in is really important.
Totally.
And there's certainly factors that will sway you one way or another.
Yeah.
And even when you watch the same film twice, like we've found enough times where Longlegs, the first time I watched it, I didn't really like it. And then I watched it again and I liked it a lot more.
Yeah.
So on first watch, given the expectations that I had, comparing it to the first one, given it had been 7 years since that, and then just all the miscellaneous, how I was feeling that day or whatever, like there's a lot of X factors that can sway an opinion. So I'm still sticking with avoid. But,
okay, fair enough.
But if you're mad at us, that's how I'm explaining it. Yeah.
Okay, so we're ready?
Spoilers.
Okay, spoilers. Spoiler alert. Okay, so I don't know which one I want to begin with. I mean, we talked about the sister and the idea that whole storyline didn't even need to be there.
Yep.
I don't know if we needed to get as much background on like the whole cult and all the, like, I just don't know if that was necessary.
Yeah, I wrote that I feel like kind of bogged it down and became very convoluted. Like, oh, there's this side clause.
Yes, too many rules.
And,
yeah.
I mean, they have a lawyer there to walk through it. I guess that's kind of the joke. But
Yeah.
I don't care enough about this franchise to care about all. Like, it just felt muddy and overcomplicated.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I'm hoping that they will put this to bed now. But if it makes money, like the first one I was reading today made something like 10 times its budget, which is, good for, especially for the first one. I don't remember like being it's not a big blockbuster film. It was just really well done. And Samara Weaving was really good, and they had a great tone and all the rest of it. So it was successful. Yeah.
And like you said earlier, you go from having a really unique concept in the first one to then just copying it, and it's the opposite of unique this time, right?
Yeah.
It's tired and old because it's the same as the first.
We talked about this in the theater, I think, or after we had both watched it, because we didn't watch it together. What do you make of Elijah Wood at the end? Do you think that he's meant to be Satan?
Yeah, that's interesting. I think I'd come across that as a theory. Maybe. I think they leave it ambiguous on purpose.
It's definitely ambiguous. But
he could just be a lawyer who's doing his job, and he's just a third-party observer, and he's just kind of taking it all in. But yeah, I think the Satan thing makes sense. Yeah,
it seems to me like he had maybe, I was going to say more knowledge than he should have, but being the lawyer, he would have to know everything, about these rituals and all the rest of it. But there was something that I'm trying to remember, and I should have gone back and rewatched the end bit. There's something that happens at the end with his character that this is why I wondered. It's like, I can't remember if he like disappears or he leaves the scene for a second. I thought that seems more powerful than he should be as a human. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah. I did get the sense at the end that like, I felt like there was maybe a supernatural evil element to him. Maybe I didn't think that he was Satan personified, but like whatever demon was wrapped up in this whole ritual, that he was maybe, a part of that.
And surprised they both live at the end.
But then I thought he would end up being the big bad, which he sort of wasn't, which is a pleasant surprise, actually, that he was just kind of looking around, watching it all happen. And I thought that was actually kind of refreshing, because I just assumed that they were going to make him the big bad guy at the end. But
yeah, and so let's talk about the end then, because I did like that bit. He was, not that every lawyer part is like this, but he was definitely, he was there for the rules and all the rest of it, but he was also there to lay out what the options are for the sisters, right?
Yeah.
It's like, well, you can do this, or he didn't, like, okay, everybody kill them now. Or like, he didn't do anything out of character for his character, the lawyer. So I liked that bit because you almost got the sense, like it seemed to me there was almost a bit of a smile on his face when they were successful at the end.
Yeah, instead of being like Satan, I felt like he was just like a demonic lawyer enforcer. He's just like, these are the rules, and like, I'm here to tell you what they are and enforce them, but I'm not necessarily going to interject myself into this equation. I'm just going to make sure that these rules are followed.
Yeah, exactly.
Because even for the villains, right? Like when they don't fulfill their end of it, they just implode and explode blood everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like he's on their side versus the other side.
No, exactly. He is an impartial.
Yeah. So I feel like I kind of liked his role there.
Yeah, I really liked him. And I liked how they wrote his role in the movie. It was one of the few characters that I actually really liked. David Cronenberg's son, I can't remember the actor's
Titus
name.
or-
Hatoshi, I think is the actor's name. What did you think about his transformation, his character transformation?
I didn't. I just found him really boring.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think his character was very interesting. Okay, he's the villain. Yeah, he was, I think, one of the weakest parts of the film for me.
Yeah, because he starts off as a very weak character. And I'm not saying this isn't a possibility, but literally he does a 180 degree where he's just this nasty, I don't know, like off the wall kind of character. And I didn't believe it. I was
Agreed,
like, really?
yeah, exactly.
He just all of a sudden flips a switch and he's like a brutal.
I guess they just wanted to like have a twist, I guess. Or,
I guess.
But was the scene with the sister you're referring to the fight scene with him?
Yes.
Because that was brutal. Like, he is just beating the ever living Jesus out of her.
Yeah.
It is pretty graphic, and to see a woman get brutalized like that, which happens in horror films all the time, but this just had like a more, as you said, I think mean-spirited edge to it because he's really teeing off on her.
I think the difference too is you're absolutely right. I mean, horror, bread and butter is sadly the terrorizing of women. But the scenes often are quite short. This lingers. Like he just keeps going back and hitting her again and hitting her again. It's
she felt like Bruce Willis in a Die Hard film.
It was just like, holy shit.
Because in the Scream films, right, they might get slashed in the arm and scream and keep running, but this is just like repeated beatdown.
Yeah.
Which I guess maybe makes her like seem tougher or more strong, or like it kind of builds her resilience in some ways because she fights through it, and she's definitely I think it makes her a stronger character, but that doesn't make it not hard to watch still. Yeah,
it was. I mean, for again, coming back to the tonal idea, that scene in particular is so different than the rest of the film.
Yeah,
it's almost like a war movie where a POW is getting interrogated or something. It's just really uncomfortable to watch,
especially given the fact that this film is juxtaposed and intercut with this rather hilarious fight scene with Samara Weaving's character and that other girl. So this is the point where I started liking the film. Is she goes to fire this bazooka at her, and she's holding it the wrong way. It shoots backwards, and I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
And then they end up getting something in their eyes, and they're like,
that's right,
both like swinging like off of them, like not anywhere near each other, like attacking the air.
Yeah, didn't they have mace or something?
Yeah, and it was really funny. And I was for the first time in the movie, like that's kind of what was hooking me and getting me in. But then they would cut to the other sisters fight scene getting absolutely brutalized by Titus, but then cut back to these girls like flailing around. Yeah. So again, pretty serious tonal inconsistency, because the feeling you get as a viewer jumping between those two scenes was pretty jarring. Yeah, they could have, if they had chosen a different scene to intercut it with, would have made more like a darker tone. That would have made more sense. But it was, from like gruesome to slapstick. Yeah. And it was just, flipping back and forth. Speaking of slapstick, I thought when they're first running on the lawn and then they've got is he Spanish? Yeah. The guy with I mean, come on. It was just so ridiculous. I mean, he's got a sniper rifle and he can't hit these two. Then they can't be very far away from him. Yeah. And
a
there's
couple
the little
hundred
kid
yards
with the guns. Yeah. And then, like, I enjoyed the scene where the guy chickens out and sends his wife in.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
It was good, and his character is just completely ridiculous. But the mix of it all together just didn't quite work and seemed very inconsistent with the first one. And that's what was really giving me problems. So I think when I just let go and I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to enjoy the funny parts of this film is when I enjoyed it more.
Yeah, fair enough. And I mean, I think part of the consistency in the first film is that it's one family.
Yes.
Right? I mean, they have extended, but this was 4 different families with multiple different characters in each family. And it was just way too much without any character development. Like if they'd had, maybe this would have been a solution, right? You have just the heads of each family.
Yeah.
Nobody else can interact. And if your head, gets taken, that's it. You're done. Your family's out. Like that would have made it, I think,
which happens sometimes, but not others.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I think that would have made it more consistent and more cohesive as a film because you'd have far fewer characters to worry about.
Yeah. The whole film did feel like a bit of a convoluted mess.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what was your, because I hated the first half and kind of enjoyed the second half when I leaned into the comedy. What was your ride like on this one?
I think pretty similar. I have to say I did like the beginning in the hospital. And then Kevin Durant's character, like I thought that was a good jump start for the rest. And then it kind of dipped for me, when because it's just that it was just so predictable, right? They kidnap her and her sister and she doesn't know that her sister's like with her. And she said, well, I'm not going to play. Oh, okay. We'll kill your sister. Like it was just so contrived and predictable that I didn't like that bit. But I think, like you say, once it started to get into the film and we start getting more of a rolling kind of fight scenes back and forth, then it became a little bit more interesting.
Because that's why I'm not recommending it. I just don't think it's well put together.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're absolutely right.
Even though it does have some redeeming qualities, it's not a terrible movie, but I feel like the core elements are not good enough to justify a recommend.
No.
Yeah. But the bazooka firing backwards was pretty awesome.
Good.
And I guess the part I liked the best at the end is when she takes the guy out, stabs him in the neck like 20 times, and then chucks the ring into the middle, and all the cultists just like jump in and they're all just going after each other and stabbing each other, and the music and that scene, I thought it ended really well. I thought that was
the ending was really good, I thought.
Yeah. Like for me, that was the strongest part of the film, that final scene when they're all jumping in the pit.
There was another scene that just came to my mind with Sarah Michelle Gellar. So there's one bit in the film where Grace's character, there's a loophole in the story, right? So the loophole is if she marries one of the family members, then it's done. She doesn't have to die. And Sarah Michelle Gellar is coming to talk to her before the wedding. And I just didn't buy that she was, I'm worried about my brother now. I never saw this in him before, and I need your help to kind of contain him or whatever. And I was just like, she's a cutthroat right from the beginning. There's no way she's going to just do a 180-degree turn. I don't know. There were just those things that were, again, that...
Because they're not earned, right? They're just sloppily written into the script, but they don't really build it up.
Yeah.
So it just comes across as lazy and not genuine.
I mean, they do...
Because they both flip on a dime in opposite directions, right? They switch spots.
And they take pains to kind of show you right from the beginning that she's the one in charge, that he's kind of, henpecked or whatever. And then to, just kind of flip on a dime. It didn't work for me at all.
Yeah. I kind of like the line where they did foreshadow it a bit when they say, oh, you can kill a family member or something.
Yeah.
And then when they get married, I was kind of like, okay, she's going to take him out and say that line. And sure enough, she did, which I thought worked.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was, the ending was just really good. It was like balls to the wall. And I do like the fact that they both kind of get to walk away at the end. I mean, it's a bit trite, but it is a nice way to end the film. They're triumphant or whatever. Mm. But again, I just really hope that they go, okay, we made our 2, let's move on.
Yeah, and so you and I went to a movie last night, which we won't spoil, but another
Yeah.
2026. And we were both kind of walking in the theater and commenting on how 2026 has just been kind of disappointing.
It has been.
And that a lot of the films that looked like they would be really fun on paper maybe haven't really, other than Undertone, which was amazing,
Yeah.
which we both liked. But this is another one that I thought would be better.
Yeah, me too. And I mean, I was just looking up release dates. And I mean, May, I think we've got 4 or 5 coming out in May. And again, I'm anticipating a few of them because they look really good.
Yep.
But I thought some of these other ones will look good.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed this, but Werewolf, the Eggers,
Yep.
he did the same thing with Nosferatu. He's
Christmas
releasing
Day.
on it Christmas.
Get out of here. It's so weird.
I was just like, why are you doing this again? Like Nosferatu was one thing, but now you're doing a completely different kind of film and releasing it on Christmas.
It's really hard to get permission from your wife to go see a horror movie on Christmas Day.
Yeah. Like I there has to be something behind that other than
Maybe
him.
box office, because most people don't release films.
Yeah,
then.
maybe.
Like that weekend, Christmas weekend, maybe. I guess people are together with their families but like, you're not going to go see a horror film most of the time.
No, I'd be curious to know if it worked for him or against him in Nosferatu. It must have worked for him because he's doing it again.
There must be a reason.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to know the reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. And a bit disappointing.
Anyway, sorry, that was a bit of a tangent, but
We've done this long enough now that I've recognized that every year, the ones I most look forward to being good often underdeliver.
Yes.
And the best horror films of the year are ones that I didn't even know about or weren't even on my
Yeah.
radar. So like Undertone. Like Undertone was not on our most anticipated lists.
Yep.
And I think we would both agree that that's probably the best one we've seen so far this
Yeah.
year. So
And
that's
like-
the cool thing about the genre in a way.
like last year, Hollow Road, never heard of it. And then watched it. It was like, wow, this is a really entertaining, gripping film.
yeah.
But a lot of the, the big box office draws, you would think like a Scream 7. It was just like, meh. I liked 5 and 6 when they kind of shifted gears from the original, but this
Except for Trap, which was really good.
yeah, it was pretty awesome. Yeah. Listen, I think I know what you're going to pick next. And you're not picking winners every time either. So just let me point that out to you.
No, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, our next pick I think was worse than Twisted, maybe. So
Yeah,
we'll
there
see.
you go.
Actually, fun fact though, this had 325 gallons of fake blood in this movie.
Oh, that is interesting fact.
Yeah, so there, if you like gore, you're going to get that in this movie, I would say.
Do you know, speaking of blood, well, and again, this is a bit of a comedic element, but you're talking about the woman with the, bazooka or whatever.
Yeah.
And as she's walking out of the house, she just like gives her a couple of more shots with the gun. It was just like, I just found that so funny because their fight scene was so ridiculously over the top that when she finally, dispatches this person, and I think she just really pissed her off. It's like, I'm going to give you a couple of more slugs on my way by. I thought that was pretty funny.
For sure. Yeah, it's an interesting one because it's not awful.
No.
I think it was just disappointing for both of us.
Yeah. I mean, the sets are great. The costuming is great. Some good fight scenes, some good action scenes, some great kills. But like many that we've talked about, they have all these disparate elements that could make the movie really good, but they don't stitch it together in a way that makes it work.
And this might be true as well so for example, like Dolly had a 49% audience score, but this had a 90%. General audiences maybe do like the horror comedy
Absolutely.
stuff.
Yeah.
Like the more they have fun and the more lighthearted it is, it seems like the more appealing it is, even though that's not always what I'm looking for. But
yeah, I mean, I think, like any genre, we could probably, put horror fans into categories, right? There's the casual fan who just kind of shies away from the really graphic stuff or the really scary stuff.
yeah,
I tend to like ones like Undertone that kind of get under my skin and make me think a little bit. And
that had a really low
yeah, I
audience
know.
score. Yeah.
So, I mean, and then there's the gore hounds. But I agree with you. I think because this is slick, it's got good action. It's got some, fun kills for the audience.
Big names.
I think that's why the audience score is so high.
Yep.
But in terms of whether or not they're really thinking about what they're watching.
That speaks to Scream's popularity as well, because it is one of the more accessible, fun horror franchises. Yeah. So anyways,
There you go.
maybe not our cup of tea. It is, well, it's cool that you and I have such similar taste, but for a horror podcast is a bit unfortunate because
Yeah.
it's so rare where it's like you and I strongly disagreeing. I think that's happened once.
Yeah.
Over the Rob Zombie remake, I think was the one like where you and I were really having a disagreement. But I feel like 95% of the time, you and I have very similar takes.
Yeah. I mean, we have you like zombie movies more than I do, but I definitely have had many that I really enjoyed, even though in general, I don't particularly enjoy the genre, but there's some really, really strong zombie films.
And you love found footage, so.
Yeah, and found footage, probably my favorite genre. So have you made your choice for the next one, or you're still not sure?
I'm still not sure because I guess it depends when we end up reviewing the one we saw last night.
Yeah.
So
I kind of assumed that would be the one, but.
Yeah. We're looking at maybe hopefully doing a collaboration here in this season. So
that's right. Yeah, you had.
That's why it's
okay.
dependent
Yeah.
on
Okay.
that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about this? Do you want to trash anything else before we leave?
No, I think I'm pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, just disappointing.
And 2 weeks from now, we'll have some movie that Mike's going to decide on.
Yeah, I've got some strong things to say about the one we saw last night, so that'll be in a few weeks, I suppose.
Yes. So, but let's just tease this a little bit because explain to the lovely people at home what the possible collaboration is without giving away the movie.
Yeah, so I've got a friend from high school who does podcasting as well. So he has the Parallax Review, which he does older films, and X-Men cartoon podcast as well. And I've been on both of those podcasts as a guest. So we want to have him on to talk about this film that he chose that we're going to do, which I'm not going to spoil. But his co-host is going on a trip to like India or something. So it's just somewhat predicated on that. Maybe he'll come alone or maybe we'll wait, but that's the one sticking point.
And I haven't quite figured out how we're making that work. So
we used to have an older studio, which you may remember, which had a much bigger table, which had room for guests, but it's very cozy in this studio.
But even that one, you're absolutely right. It was bigger and it was a wider table. It was still pretty tight with 3 people. And when we had 4 with Jordy and
for the witch, we had Jordy and Kara, and that was that was tight. But it worked.
But yeah, so we are working on getting another guest. I mean, we really enjoyed that season. I think it was season 3 was the guest season. We had some really fun episodes and some really interesting people come on for specific skills that they had, which I thought was really cool. So,
and because our tastes are so similar, it is fun to have someone else with different perspectives.
So we're hoping that we can do that, and we would like to do more guest appearances in the future, but that's going to require some more conversation about how we're going to do that.
Actually, I really liked having people on who weren't horror fans per se.
Absolutely.
Like they almost in some cases didn't like horror movies. But it was really interesting to hear their takes on things. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will see you in a couple of weeks with some movie sometime.
And we'll also see you
in the aisles.